Okay, another stream here, working on upgrading Solidus to Rails 6, trying to figure out what we need to do to get there. Previously, we'd run into some issues with gems that weren't compatible. Started looking into those gems, and they all seem fine. They just need their version requirements bumped and stuff like that. There weren't any big issues that I found yet. So I'm gonna push up a PR for that probably, and then start looking at what the test suite looks like with all of that stuff working. So might be a bit of a slow one because I got to make some changes, then I got to run the test suite. But we'll see how far we get. I'm not exactly sure how long I'm gonna run this one. Maybe an hour or so. Let's get started. What I just done was get the tests running for paranoia. So one of the issues I ran into was that a new version of SQLite was released, and the gem file for this guy was pulling in a version that was incompatible with Rails because Rails was specifying the gem version more strictly, I believe, in the adapter code than it was in the actual gem file for the gem itself. But they fixed that. They fixed that since the last session. So I don't need to do anything. We're pointed at Rails master. As you can see, tests just passed. So unfortunately I have to do it off screen, but I'm just going to go leave a comment on the paranoia gem. The maintainer, who is Hoth, is let's see what branch this was against. Hoth said that I just had to go ahead and make sure this change was good. Haven't run against run anything on Solidus with it yet, so we'll see if there are any issues. But at least tests are passing. Do we have automated tests on this product? They do. Okay, so I guess he already knows that. So maybe we'll hold off on doing anything until we actually run Solidus against this. Let's get into Solidus. Where were we? We've done a bunch of stuff. What we'd done is we'd hacked out paranoia. I don't actually plan on removing paranoia, so I'm probably just going to revert those changes. And then see, yeah, so we had a lot of, all our changes were really just that stuff. So, we had 2 changes to the jump file, okay. I am just going to stash all of these changes. I probably don't need any of them. And if I remember correctly, I had this just jammed into the gem file to get things working. This is just my fork of awesome nested set that claims to work on Rails 6, and as far as I can tell it does. All the tests pass on it. So that's good. And then the other one was teaspoon. So these probably need some love at some point, but I'm not super concerned about that right now. And then finally, what depends on paranoia? Solidus core depends on paranoia. Well, we'll just do the same thing in here. So we'll just add a gem in here. We'll specify GitHub, then just point it at this friend here's GitHub account. So this guy is the one that put together a PR to fix the dependencies for this one. Oops, that's paranoia. Yeah. Oh, I requested Rails 5.2. No, I haven't. Rails version. Oh, okay. I can double check. I haven't really been paying attention. I assume a new beta hasn't been released yet. Yeah, 6. Perfect. Okay, so it tells us which version of Rails we want to use, and we've got something that doesn't like us. So, where is it? It's not gonna work. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove that upper bound for now. Did I not see that? Scroll by it. I did. I just scrolled by it. So that'll be fine. We'll fix that properly later. All right, there we go. Now we're working. It's pulling in SQLite 1.4, which it shouldn't do. That's a problem. It might not be a problem for us, but let's just could run it against Postgres. I don't really want to run it against SQLite 3. Okay, let's just make that. What was the set the DB variable to Postgres? And then we can bundle again. Yeah, Rails isn't yet compatible with SQLite 1.4, even on Rails 6 beta. So you have to be a bit careful with that. So our full diff is that, and using special branch paranoia. Does our default spec task actually do everything? See how far this gets. A lot of failures. Let's just take a look at what our failures are. Model adapter does not support fetching records from the database. Interesting. What does that mean? I've never seen that error before, but we're probably gonna get a lot of them. Just gonna Google that one. See what's up here. Oops. Close to the wrong thing. I mean, that's fair. This is the abstract adapter. Abstract adapter is what we're using. Probably don't want to be using that. Don't know why we're using that. Is it? I mean, this is CanCanCan. Okay. Got just kind of so we just took model adapters. Yeah. But I've never had to configure adapter when I've been using Active Record. Database. Creating a model adapter. I mean, I don't want to create a model adapter. I just don't know what would have changed that. Oops. Don't know what it would have changed that. Okay, so there we go. Here's a new real issue. Schedule fixed for the version 3 since Rails 6 is still in beta. News for the end of February. So the end of February. It's gonna be a bit. It's funny. Issue can be seen. Okay. So maybe CanCan master. I mean, I don't know what our dependency on CanCan even is. So gem specs then, it's probably gonna be a core if I had to guess. Depending on 2.2. We're talking about let's just, for the sake of this, remove that requirement and let's just go straight from the source. Grab master. It looks like master might have support for Rails 6 for CanCan. That'll block release, but that's fine. Okay, so see if we get any further. Just running the specs again, just looking to see how much of it's failing, why it's failing. Start knocking out some of these issues. A lot of update attributes is deprecated. That's just because it's called from within order contents and a few other places that get called a lot. So those will be easy fixes. It's a whole bunch of fails. Maybe we'll take a look at them. Oh, we're still getting the same error. That sucks. Did we actually pull in? Got CanCan 2.3.0. Is there a branch that contains? 3.0? 8 days ago. Okay. Let's give that a shot then. So we're just pulling, hopefully, a newer version, and just go take a look at the gem file lock. And it still says it's CanCan 2.3.0, but we'll just start running tests again. See if this gets us any further. And imagine these run in random order, so the fact that we've got a bunch of successes might mean nothing, but I don't know. Alright, I'm just going to grab some more water because this is empty. Sorry, it was muted. Alright, this is looking pretty good so far. Looks like we got all the core specs passing, so that's not bad. This might be a real easy upgrade. One thing we can do is, now that we know core specs are passing, they depend on a whole bunch of paranoia behavior. So that tells us that this branch of paranoia for Rails 6 is working, presumably anyway. Got some feature specs failing and stuff, so we'll see what that's about. Which means we can go report back on this PR that adds Rails 6 support for paranoia and say that it looks good, and hopefully Hoff will then merge that for us. Lots more feature failures. Okay, so we're gonna have something to fix. Perfect, so I've just let Hoff know, since he's the maintainer of Paranoia, that that branch is looking good. You can probably merge it. Welcome, one lonely viewer. Thanks for joining me here. We're just running the test suite for Solidus, looking for new things to fix for as far as Rails 6 support goes. Alright, just little bursts of feature specs failing, so hopefully those are all some sort of trivial issue. And not indicative of anything too huge. It was nice to see core passing. Okay. Okay, so that was something I was a little worried about. I did remove the CanCan version dependency that we had in place. And as such, looks like there have been some changes to CanCan that causing some issues for us here. So cannot be used with a block can definition. So I'm just gonna commit our hacks to the versions of things. Oh, so remove teaspoon. Okay, work progress. Get gem file satisfiable. Okay, so we can start worrying about that. I'm just going to run one of these. Dash B. Oh. That was in the back end. So I'm just gonna run that and see with dash B. That'll show me the full backtrace where the error was, so I can get a better idea of exactly what's going on here. So fortunately, admin orders code 53. I know what that's going to be. Yes, current ability index. So so we have an ability, but we have this whole system for registering permission sets and having them provide functionality. And I wonder if that's something to do with the problem. So that's just going to be a list of them. So base. So these are all pretty boring. Somewhere is going to be something like this. I was using accessible by on spree orders. So oops. So it's The issue might have to do with this default customer, or actually it could be all of these. It makes perfect sense why this wouldn't work. I'm surprised it worked before. Did it just load all the records or something? What was the change? Oh, well, fair. I'll accept this. Define abilities without a subject is not allowed anymore. Cool. Reloading is not automatic. I mean, that's pretty limited breaking changes. Let's just pull this down here. And we care about this branch. So we'll finish that branch. Out. And then go take a look at where that specific error happens. It happens in rules, ability rule 70. Oops. Go. So this was added by somebody named Alessandro late last year. Potentially? Okay, so here's the issue. Previously, it would still work by presumably just ignoring the blocks. Ignoring those block rule definitions. So, because what the check did previously is check if there were only blocks on it. But now it checks if there are any blocks. Seems like a fair but sort of controversial change. It certainly presents a pretty reasonable problem for us, because I don't know that was the customer permission set. Let's see. So yeah, I'm not sure. These ones, I believe, I'm not a huge CanCan expert. I tend to use Pundit more often, but I believe like this, and hopefully that can be converted to not use the block stuff. But I'm not sure that we can do this one. Getting started, defining abilities. That's what we want to do. Okay. So these are what we need to do. Aliases. So hashing conditions can be passed to further restrict which records this permission applies to. Here, the user will only have permission to read active projects which they own. Sure. I mean, that makes sense. So that means that we could say something like, I want to replace this rule with something like order dot. Oh yeah, maybe we can't do this. I mean, the only issue would be stores have no guest token, and we're not given a guest token. That could be a problem. So we'll have to figure out something there. But for now, we can say user ID, user.id. Unfortunately, I don't think it allows us to give. I mean, maybe we would just make this separate ones. I'm not 100% sure how this works, but we can something like that. And this one, say completed true. And that's for return authorization, so I don't think that'll affect us. Now, the question is, are there any others that... Is this going to allow us to run that particular spec? Oh, and I'm not in backend again. Okay. Okay, so that didn't work. Undefined local variable or method token. What? Right. Because token comes through. Right, that's why I couldn't do this. That's why the thing I did didn't make sense. So we'll just remove that. So this is definitely not the same behavior and not correct, but we'll see how far it gets us. The main thing we want to do here is confirm that like I understand what the issue is, so we can start looking into it. I mean, we really do need that block behavior. Okay, so cool. That addressed at least this one issue. So I'm just gonna run tests again. It's boring. But I need a better idea of whether there are other issues in there, or whether the bulk of these. Actually, we can just do it back, and we don't need to run core again. So yeah, the main thing that I want to know is whether these failures are to do with this incompatibility with newer versions of CanCan. And then we're gonna have to think about exactly what we're gonna have to do. Like removing those blocks is not really viable, because like we still need some way of implementing that logic. Because that's like pretty core to how the order access works. A bunch of stuff is probably gonna depend on that. Just gonna go ahead. That was a bunch of failures. Unable to convert unpermitted parameters to hash. That's an exciting new error. I've never seen that one before. A whole bunch of them. And they are in a bunch of different places. But this looks like a nice place to start. Products index, products index, products index. There's a few different places. And that's just a different error. Where's index? Unable to convert unpermitted parameters to hash. It's a really interesting error. This is an old post, which is interesting. Someone else is doing something vaguely similar here. Yeah, I mean, this is all old news. Don't know why it'd be failing now. Unless we're, I don't know, passing things through. So of course Google wants to know my location. They always seem to. They keep separate change logs for all of them, don't they? So save it. Oops. Oh, button. Let's forget which one's which. Suppose some things. So from parse error. That's related. What the? It's a sort like. Let's just take a look at just the failures from this file here. So I can get better. So that's weird. Need some more context. Alright, dash B gives us some nice big stack traces. So we're erroring like deep down inside of Action Controller, which is weird. So like no, it's not us. Yeah, this is a weird one. I've used Friedman orders index.html. Calling the line. Oh, it doesn't have to. Okay. 68. That's not right. 135. Okay. Let's start poking around. Oops, I just tried to read the file. Guess I could just run one example, but it doesn't really matter which one we're in. Are they all failing? Don't know. Oh, okay. No, we're getting lots of failures. What? Oh. Rude. I mean, don't have pry. Dare you not have pry, eh? Still failing. Oh. Still fan for the same reason, probably because I don't have a good answer wise. We do not have Brian project. Okay, there we go. So we're expecting sort link, search, completed app to throw us a nice error. And it does. I don't know what creating a link would have to do with permitted parameters though. So that's all looks normal. I do have a ransack search that I'm passing in and an attribute. None of this stuff matters. Not like new. So I mean I can do search. Oh, search. My attribute is completed at. I guess I should probably dig into ransack because this is probably a ransack compatibility issue. If I get too far here, args isn't anything. Params, where does params come from? Oh, params is just params, and the block is nothing. Oops. Oh, of course that's not gonna work. Because this is a ransack sort link, I assume. No. Where's that file to find? Helpers, form helper. I don't know. Well, let's go take a look at ransack. Maybe someone's already opened an issue on this one. Issues, no round 6, 16 hours ago. I don't actually know who maintains this project these days. Pretty well maintained. See, yeah, updates 3 days ago. Neat. Cool. Where's for Rails 5.2? Support Rails 6 and Alright, so let's just get on master. Another gem. Okay. Let's get rid of that byte.py. Oh, we'll leave pry in the project for now, though. Because, you know, pry is just kind of great. So. Boom. Go. So we got about 15 minutes left before I'm going to call this one. Didn't make a huge amount of projects, but largely just because there weren't a huge amount of issues. Things other than this big CanCan issue that we're going to have to track down. I'm sort of pretty happy with how this all turned out. Go back into backend and run specs again. Maybe they'll work. if anyone has recommendations or requests for gems you'd like to take me to take a look at when it comes to getting them Rails 6 ready, specifically gems that are Solidus extensions, but if you see issues that I could tackle on Scream and in other peripheral gems, I'd consider taking a look at them as well. It's one of those things that you get. It seems pretty easy so far on this upgrade. I mean, core passes without any changes, so this might be quite an easy Rails upgrade. I know. Was listening to a podcast with Eileen on it, and she was talking about how GitHub has been very proactive about getting ready for this one. So might be one of the easier upgrades. Hope so, anyway. And then what I was saying was the more you poke around with it, you learn a bit about every Rails release, and fixing issues that pop up again and again becomes easy. I know the 4.2 to 5.0 bump had it took a fair bit of work on some of the projects I was on, but once you got your head around all the big issues that you run into on these kind of things, it moves along pretty quickly. It's just bigger gotchas, like we're gonna have to deal with this CanCan change. I mean, this CanCan change does sort of illustrate why I'm more of a fan of Pundit. That's not to really knock CanCan in any way. It is a good project that a lot of people use to a lot of success, but there is just a bit more code to it. So when the DSL works for you, you can get a fair bit done just using that DSL, but now that we needed more complex control over things, they've now broken that for us so that we can't use that behavior, and I don't know what we're gonna do. It's an interesting one. I guess I'm just talking to my YouTube audience now because I have no viewers on stream. This one will be uploaded to my YouTube probably tonight, probably post it tomorrow or something like that. This is working. I've been talking and not focused on what's on my screen, but this looks like backend is gonna pass. Fingers crossed. I mean, if backend passes, it's only 2 more after that. All right. Oh, and so I just got confirmation from Hoff. He doesn't want to merge the PR that's open right now because I didn't name any of my TMUX things. This one. GC, so we'll call this Rails 6. And so this should just be one commit. And thing we care about. Let's fixing that. Gem spec. I'm just going to make this a greater than and less than 6.2. So we're going to say don't leave active record version open. It's going to break eventually. Cool. Wow, there we go. Backend passes. I mean, let's keep going. And then so support record 6 dispose. So I'm using a hub to make pull requests. It's just a little easier, and that way I can show them on stream, because I have to be a little careful about showing my GitHub because there's private stuff on there. But I can do this way, and you can actually see what I'm typing without me having to actually show GitHub. Adds back in the upper version constraint. Great. Cool. Alright, so that PR is up on Paranoia. Probably don't need to ping Hoth on that. Seems like he's paying attention. So we should check on our specs, and here we go. We have a lot of errors. They're all authentication related. Cute, but this looks like things are not working. That is going to be something for another time, but while we're here, let's just go run front end specs, because backend's passing. Like I can understand why the API, which uses some custom authentication stuff, might be having some issues with that. That seems plausible, but maybe front end just works. Front end doesn't depend on the API, really, I don't think. Not in any meaningful way anyway. Not like the backend does. And the backend's passing, so maybe we're okay. It's also possible, given that the backend's passing and the backend has feature specs which are going to use the API almost certainly, maybe these failures are more a test setup issue or something. But I'm not going to figure it out the next 3 minutes, so we'll leave that for Wednesday night. I'll start digging into that. Oh, I'd love it if front end was passing. So again, if anyone is watching this on YouTube later or anything wants has any requests for things I work on stream, tutorials or anything, looking for content to put out, might as well. I might be releasing some additional content on YouTube soon, going through interesting Ruby topics, web programming, things like that. So let me know what you'd like to see down there in the comments, as they say. And I'll try to make future streams less watching me run specs. But unfortunately, Rails 6 support. Oh, brutal. If there's only like 4 failures, I'm going to go fix them. Unless those 4 failures are like testing the CanCan permissions through the front end, in which case I'm not. Oh, 5 failures. Boo. I mean, I technically could keep going for another hour. There's nothing stopping me from getting this sorted out. Five failures. Checkout controller. Oh, I mean, that's probably just an erroneous failure. That's probably not a real failure. Oh, and that is a monster. But it is just asserting that something was called. Authorize. So that is probably, it looks like there might be some issue with coupon codes, maybe, but probably not. The issue is probably that I changed CanCan and removed some of the permissions. So like the token, your guest tokens are just not working currently. So that's cool. I guess that's it. So thanks to everyone who came and watched. Not even my mods, and just one person for a bit. But I'll be back on Wednesday. That's just double checking the date. I think that's the 13th. Yeah, Wednesday the 13th at 8 p.m. Pacific for my next stream, where I will be probably I'll probably be digging into the API issues, but I mean, they could have to do with the CanCan issues as well. I'm going to probably go talk to a couple of different people about how we could possibly fix the CanCan issues. So if anyone watches this, has any ideas, please ping me on the Solidus Slack or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Get a hold of me with your suggestions on how we're going to solve that issue. That's it for me. Thanks, everyone. Later.